Uncover the secrets of history. Watch, like, and subscribe for more adventures into the past.
Step into the past. Join the journey floor. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
The 13th century was an age of collapse and opportunity. The Seljuk Sultanate of Rum had crumbled under the crushing weight of the Mongol invasions. To the west, Byzantium was only a shadow of its former glory. Anatolia became a fractured land of rival lords, Christian fortresses, and wandering tribes searching for survival. Among these tribes were the Kai Turks, led by a warrior named Ertuğrul. His people were refugees and frontier warriors, living on the edge of empires. Legend tells us that Ertuğrul once dreamt of a great tree growing from his chest, its branches spreading across the world. To his followers, this dream was a sign that his descendants were destined to rule. When Ertuğrul died, leadership passed to his son, Osman. Osman was ambitious. He saw that Byzantium was weak, and he knew that the Seljuks had fallen under Mongol control. In this vacuum of power, Osman declared independence in 1299. From this declaration, a new state was born, named after him, the Ottoman Empire. Osman's followers were Ghazis, warriors of the frontier. They lived for battle and for faith, raiding enemy lands and expanding Ottoman territory. Every victory brought more land, more soldiers, and more prestige. Under Osman's leadership, the Crescent Banner began its rise. In 1326, Osman's son Orhan captured the city of Bursa. This was a turning point. Bursa became the first Ottoman capital, a city of trade, silk, and culture. The Ottomans began minting coins, building mosques, and creating the institutions of government. The warriors of the steppe were becoming rulers of cities. The empire grew not only through war, but also through tolerance. Christians, Jews, and Muslims found stability under Ottoman rule. This diversity strengthened the state and drew new subjects to its banner. But the greatest prize lay further west. Constantinople, the ancient capital of Byzantium, stood as the dream of every Ottoman ruler. They were not yet strong enough to take it, but they tightened the circle, capturing fortress after fortress. In the mid-14th century, under Sultan Murad I, the Ottomans crossed into Europe. They captured Adrianople and made it their new capital. The Balkans fell step by step under Ottoman power. In 1389, at the Battle of Kosovo, Sultan Murad was killed, but the Ottomans held the field, and their enemies were broken. His son Bayezid, called the Thunderbolt, took the throne. In less than a decade, Bayezid brought nearly all of Anatolia under Ottoman rule, and he crushed Christian coalitions in Europe. Byzantium was nearly surrounded. The fall of Constantinople seemed only a matter of time, but from the east, a greater danger approached. The conqueror Timur, known in the west as Tamerlane, was marching westward. His armies had burned cities from India to Persia. Now he turned his gaze toward the rising Ottoman Empire. The stage was set for a clash that would shake the foundations of history. In the year 1402, the Ottomans faced their greatest trial. At the Battle of Ankara, Sultan Bayezid I met the armies of Timur. The clash was catastrophic. Bayezid was captured, his empire shattered, and rival sons fought bitterly for the throne. For a time, it seemed the Ottoman dream had ended. But out of this chaos rose Mehmed I, who restored unity. And after him came Murad II, a patient and determined ruler who rebuilt the empire's strength. The Ottomans had stumbled, but they had not fallen. A new generation prepared to take the empire to heights undreamed of. That generation was led by a young sultan named Mehmed. History would remember him as Mehmed the Conqueror. In 1453, Mehmed launched the greatest siege of the medieval world, the assault on Constantinople. The Byzantines had withstood enemies for 1,000 years, but now they faced the full force of Ottoman power. With massive cannons, relentless assaults, and a fleet dragged across land to bypass the city's defenses, the walls could not hold. On May 29th, Constantinople fell. The city became the new Ottoman capital, renamed Istanbul. The conquest marked the end of the Byzantine Empire and the birth of the Ottomans as a world power. From their new capital, the sultans expanded in every direction. They dominated the Balkans, took control of the Eastern Mediterranean, and pushed deep into the Middle East and North Africa. In 1516 and 1517, under Selim the Grim, the Ottomans captured Egypt and the holy cities of Mecca and Medina. The Sultan became not only a ruler, but also the defender of Islam's most sacred places. But it was under Selim's son, Sulayman, that the empire reached its zenith. Sulayman the Magnificent reigned for nearly 50 years, from 1520 to 1566. He expanded Ottoman rule into Hungary and challenged the Habsburgs at the gates of Vienna. He built fleets that dominated the Mediterranean and Red Seas, and at the same time, he presided over a golden age of art, law, and architecture. Mosques, palaces, and schools rose across the empire, symbols of wealth and power. Under Sulayman, the Ottoman Empire became not just a regional state, but a true superpower, feared by Europe, respected by Asia, and central to global trade. But no empire lasts forever. After Sulayman, cracks began to show. Sultans became weaker, palace intrigues grew stronger, and wars with Europe and Persia drained the empire's strength. By the 17th century, the Ottomans were no longer advancing. Instead, they struggled to hold what they had gained. Still, the legacy of those early centuries, of Osman, Orhan, Murad, Bayezid, Mehmed, Selim, and Sulayman, remained unmatched. From a small tribe on the frontier, they had built one of the most powerful empires the world had ever seen. The story of the Ottoman Empire was far from over, but its rise, its conquest of Constantinople, and its golden age under Sulayman would forever shape the history of Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. This was the rise of the Ottomans,